Welcome back to Conversation Combo Combos, and today we're bringing it back with zombies. Just like the game that most recently came out, Dying Light the Beast, which me and Mike, we both played religiously after the day of the launch. What
Yeah.
would you say about the game? Shit
Um,
was
it was
pretty damn good.
pretty lit. They definitely took it a step up from the second one. The second one wasn't like utterly terrible or unplayable, but it definitely you could sense that it was missing a lot of key points and missing a lot of spots where it could hit harder.
Yeah.
Um,
I like the aspect that they took away from the stamina of you climbing. I
yeah,
thought that was. I mean,
a
I
little
get that they were.
extra.
Yeah, it was a little extra in the second one, but definitely in the Dying Light, the Beast, they did a really great job.
They like still incorporated it, but they only incorporated it when you actually ran, like
Yes.
your quick sprinting. They incorporated it, but other than that, climbing they didn't really incorporate it because when you think about it, you're supposed to be a human with volatile like strength and stamina
Yeah.
and all that.
Genetics are.
Which last I checked, I don't see a volatile being like,
Yeah,
hang
running
on,
out of
I
stamina.
can't climb up this. Hang on, I'll catch up with you in a second.
Yeah.
Like, no, that volatile was gonna straight up scale that wall and straight up book it across the rooftop and jump to the next one, no problem. So I like how they kind of scrapped that and we're like, okay, that didn't work out with the second one. We got a lot of, kickback for that. And they kind of listen to their players versus other games where they just kind of say, well, it is what it is. Like, this is what we decided. If you don't like it, it is too bad.
I like that they kept a lot of the same skill schematics with the quick escape. The if a
Yeah.
zombie's approaching you, you could quickly like kind of just like throw them
Shove
off to
them.
the yeah or shove them. There's a lot of like skills that they actually if you actually dive into, he actually kept, which I enjoyed. Um, and then let's talk about Knights.
Oh my gosh. You
Knights
literally
was wow, that was a doozy. That was actually pretty crazy.
literally the second game you could literally go out at night and run around
Yeah,
freely
you were fine. I mean, you
and
could.
all you would have to do is find a little hole and just you because you had the UV bars. You could
Yeah,
literally drop a UV bar and then they couldn't get around you. You could literally just wail on them as they came close. They would freak out and would block their face and you could wail on them while they were doing that. And then
yeah,
you would back up, they would come back into the UV. You could find there were so many safe zones. Even there was even areas where they weren't safe zones, but they just had blue UV lights,
yeah,
and it was just like just so easy to traverse. The volatiles I felt weren't as fast, and on top of that, they weren't as aggressive. Like the volatiles in this third one and in the first one, you would go in a UV zone, and they would straight up still leap into the UV zone and nail you.
yeah.
Granted, afterwards they would bounce out and burn,
No, no holds
but
bar.
but they
No.
don't care. Like if they gotta lunge their whole body into this UV zone just to wail on you and hit you. I mean, even in the third one, you saw literally one of the volatiles crush the UV light and was like, I don't care. Like I just need to destroy this, and then you're all fair game. Like
Yeah, that
it's just a
was.
game you gotta play, and when you see it, you're like, okay, like they literally made it so the volatiles don't give a crap anymore, and they're like you said, there's no bars, like it's all in, and I feel like that's what you missed in the second one because you went from the first game where it was like the volatiles didn't care, they would attack you regardless, and they would again throw themselves into the UV area to hit you. Or there was like even in small areas you would think you're safe, but they could still hit you. And I experienced that like in the third one. I was trying to like use kind of like a door because it was slightly
Yeah,
closed.
some type of shelter, like something to give you some
Yeah,
type of coverage.
and I would be hitting them, and then all of a sudden they would fly through, and I was like, wait, you could fit in here. All of a sudden, I have to book it and find
Dude, like it was
a
like what? Yeah, literally the other night when me and you were doing that run, and I was just like running, and I was just like, oh shit, I could hear them coming, and then I thought I was safe. The next, I fucking got leaped on. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I didn't even know that motherfucker was
That's
behind
another
me.
thing too.
Like they literally like teleport, and it was like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. And I mean, it's in the first one, you didn't really have that where they jumped on you. I mean, they jumped on you, but you had to, like, if you were running and you stopped and then you were hiding and they happened to find you, they would jump on you. But in this third one, they're like, you could be running, and like you said, it feels like they're teleporting because literally you'll be running as fast as you can. You run out of stamina and slow down a bit. Next thing you know, this volatile jumps on your back, spins you around, and throws you to the ground and jumps on you, and you're like,
It's like, where the fuck did you come from?
you're like screaming, you're slamming on that freaking button to get them off you, and you throw them off you, and you're like, oh my god. And then I like how they did the UV light where you had to upgrade it to get it
Yeah,
better, because I feel like in the second one you were just given that
yeah,
kind of willy nilly. I mean, I think in the second one you could upgrade it, but you didn't really. There was no urgency to do it. Whereas in this one, if you could do it, you were trying to do it.
yeah.
I mean, not right off the get go, but that was definitely one of the priorities, so you could have more UV light time and have a wider span of light, um, just so you could make it from whatever mission you were at quickly to a safe area.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. It's like a lot of people will play the game and they're just trying to do the story or whatever. People are like, "Oh, I'm just trying to do the story."
Yeah, but if you go down and deep and devil with it, you'll start to realize how crazy it goes
And how
because like
hard it gets.
upgrading certain mods, upgrading certain weapons, it really comes down to a part of like like what you're gonna utilize your resources for and stuff like that, and what you're gonna go out with, and then to touch base on like a zombie apocalypse type of ideal. If we were dealing with a dying light type of apocalypse. Well, let's just say we would not be doing night runs. If we were doing night runs, you best be rolling maybe what, five deep.
Yeah, and someone's gonna die or get hurt that night.
Yeah.
Especially because you got a very high risk. And I mean, we've learned not to repair our weapons in the middle of the night.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, that was a harsh moment on my end.
I was like,
I gotta repair my hammers. Like, what do you mean? The volatile's not gonna wait.
I was like, how do I? I'm like, how do I be sweet about this and not too aggressive? But at the same time, I'm like, I just do. Get back in that safe area.
But yeah, no. If you were dealing on the aspect of dying light, I mean, definitely keeping yourself physically fit.
Oh yeah.
Definitely getting yourself at least comfortable on your modding skills and stuff like that, because you could definitely like mod like a lot of like interesting stuff. Like if you get yourself like a nice solid baseball bat, I feel like you
Oh
can
yeah.
equip like certain stuff on
Baseball
there.
bat.
Anything that's like a one hander or two hander. I know you're more of a preference on a one hander, correct?
Um, Only because that's what the game. I mean, it depends on the situation because the game feeds into. Um, a lot of times you run into the fast running zombies and these big zombies, and a lot of times blunt weapons seem to not do the amount of damage that a lacerate that a one handed axe or whatever does.
Yeah.
Um, versus a two, because if you swing with a two, one, it takes more stamina out of your character. I mean, it's all based off of like, if we're talking about in-game logic, yes, I'm a one hand weapon person because I have longer stamina, meaning I can outlast them longer. And if I have an axe,
But in real life aspect,
in a real life aspect, I would rather have a baseball bat, a wood baseball bat for that matter, because I feel like a metal baseball bat after a while would dent. And you also have high risk of if you hit something, it's gonna make that louder sound, that louder rattling sound. So if I was to like go to hit a zombie, and let's say it's a fast zombie, and it does that duck like they do in the game,
yeah.
it does a duck, and I hit a street sign or something, that thing's gonna be louder than hell, especially if it's a metal bat, because metal on metal is gonna make a louder sound than wood on metal.
Which comes upon the aspect of doing stealth or trying to at least kind of maneuver yourself around the
At
environment.
at that point, I mean, in a real life situation, like you said, going out at night would be next to non-negotiable. You would not. I would be like, we do not go out at night. If you go out at night, it is for like dire emergencies,
Emergency, yeah.
like the
Like
most, like literally
pharmaceutical needs.
one of us is literally gonna die by halfway through the night. We're not gonna make it till morning.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be sneaking stealthily as much as possible, and I mean, you're talking not even, there's no creating a diversion, let's throw something over here, unless you got like a hell of a throwing arm.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, for me, my ideal would be obviously to at least collect as much resources as
Oh,
possible.
yeah.
But if you can at least stay stationary at that location, then stay stationary there. Then as
Exactly.
opposed to you continuously roaming on and trying to get back, stay with what you got, stay stationary, and then rendezvous back to home base. Because if you try to leave with whatever you got, then us trying to find out where your body is, it's gonna be like, okay, now we're pretty much like needle and haystack because now we got all pretty much a bunch of dozen random bodies because zombie apocalypse, and we're trying
Well,
to figure out
tons of buildings. You don't know which building you could have went in this one, that
exactly.
one.
Unless you put a tracker on the person, or like they have a walkie,
We'll,
but even if you
we'll
have a
do an
walkie,
Apple tag.
yeah, but
Travel with Apple. Oh man, I have an Android.
but yeah, definitely going on for that aspect, and then trying to really configure something like that. Just
I feel like I would go with that, especially at night. At night, if there's like, let's say there's moderate risk, like, hey, someone's really sick, they're not dying, but they're showing signs that they're not improving. It's actually getting worse. Maybe they're having sweats, they're puking, they have a fever, and it's not breaking, and they've had it for a while. Well, for one, I'd have someone on watch because they could turn at any moment,
yeah,
and I'd be like, we gotta inspect you for bites, like, because either be honest with us and show us the bite, or two, we need to inspect you. I mean, I'm not gonna make you take all your clothes off, but you need to roll your sleeves up, roll your pant legs up, lift your shirt up, all that, and show us
like no marks or
no
whatever like
marks or
that.
whatever, and that way we can eliminate infection, like whether it's zombie infection or just a natural infection.
Yeah, because in
It's
all
a
honesty,
natural
all it
infection.
takes is just one. Yeah.
Even a natural infection could kill somebody if it's not treated. So we need to know.
Yeah.
So, and then once we eliminate that, it's like, okay, well, you should be good. Just someone keep watch. If anything happens, unfortunately, you know what to do. Wow. At that point, we go out on a run, very, in, very quiet, and very stealthily. Make it to the SWAT, like you said, stay stationary. We know that this person necessarily isn't going to die right that night. They might get sicker and sicker, but it's not worth risking potentially, like you said, if we go 4 or 5 deep, it's not worth risking 5 lives for one. I mean, unfortunately, it's the reality of the situation, the masses.
Yeah.
You got to save the majority. So,
And
but
then dealing with special infected,
yeah, well, exactly.
because the special infected they
That
have now are a lot different than the ones they had prior before. So
Well, and that's the other thing too is, are we talking again? It's like Left for Dead. If you're talking about a spitter, like, you get acid poured on you, you're already done for. Like, that shit's gonna melt your skin. You're gonna have like third, fourth degree burns. You're gonna die. Like, one spit gets on you, you're dead.
yeah,
Like, there's no negotiation.
can't really just rub that
Or
off.
do a med kit and be like, yeah, med kit. Like, it ain't Left for Dead. Like, Left for Dead kind of pussyfoots it. The same with, I mean, honestly, Dying Light also kind of pussyfoots it because you got all those spitters that spit on you. he's technically he's half human, half volatile, so obviously it's not going to affect him as bad, and he can just brush it off,
Yeah.
and his skin will heal right back. Whereas to us, it's kind of like if we got that spit on us, we'd freaking be melted and be
Yeah.
like, "Yep, nope, I'm gonna die." And then you start, I mean, that gets infected, you get pus bubbles, and you're trying to use antibiotics, but then it's kind of like you got to think, do we use the antibiotics on this person, even though it might not help and it might not save them, and then we just lost those antibiotics we could use for somebody else? It's like, you kind of got to decide the best situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like Um, that's what makes it hard to say. If you were in a dying light zombie apocalypse, it's like, no, nobody would survive because as soon as they find that spitting zombie, unless you got like marksman skills and you can get a perfect shot on them.
Well, the funny thing is that there's like so many different games out there that have like different aspects of zombie apocalypse. Like there's another game that's called Into the Dead. This one is like a little bit more realistic. So like you have your people that get hungry, which is like obviously like realistic. Then you have your people who get tired. Then you have your
Yeah,
people who, um, have anxiety, depression, and stuff like that. So it keeps it very realistic. But then at the same time, you know, you have certain players that they, have certain attributes that can withhold them, and help them out in the field. And then you have obviously flaws upon them because you can't make it that easy.
it's reality.
Yeah, it's reality. And then also conserving your weapons because they make it pretty damn realistic to the point that like if you like swing at a zombie like two or three times, then the durability of that weapon can go down like from one or two bars or whatever like that. So um
Well, it's kind of like reality if you use a wood baseball bat after a while of beating on it and stuff.
yeah.
I mean, it's gonna wear and tear and start
I mean,
splintering.
if you reinforce it to a certain extent, I feel like the longevity would kind of hold up. But like, yeah,
Plus, I feel like kind of Dying Light overemphasizes on some of the situations. Like I could see an axe, a sword, or a bladed object would become unusable at some point because a blade is going to dull and become unusable faster than a blunt object. Because you could use a blunt object and keep hitting with it, even if you use a decent, like not a heavy pipe, but you use a decent pipe and you're beating them with it, or a frying pan or whatever. Even if it dents, you're not going to be like, oh, it's broken and toss it.
yeah,
Like you're going to keep using it till it literally breaks.
yeah.
And the same with a baseball bat. So I mean,
Utilize it
and then
so it's like full.
even when a baseball bat breaks, you can still use it as a stabbing stick. You could literally stab them in the head, throw them off, stab the next one in the head, throw them off, and so on.
Yeah,
So I mean, and it also comes down to like, can you get through that skull too? Or is the skull rotted enough on that zombie, or
yeah.
did
I
it
mean,
recently
there's a
die?
lot of leading factors towards that too. It's just
So
how much damage you can apply and how much the body has decayed to the point that the damage you inflict upon it, it's gonna be able to easily break through.
yeah. So I mean, and you see why I like those survival games where you're scavenging, gathering stuff, and then
Resources.
yeah, resources, and then after that you establish like okay, what is the safe option? What can we do to gain from it, but also not risk too much? And at the same time, it's like I said, you gotta find a realistic comparison because if we try to compare like I said, we tried to do a podcast where we were talking about Left 4 Dead zombies, and we decided right off the bat, well, we can't include the tank, we can't include like the spitter and stuff. Like we can, but it has to be a less of a degree. Like maybe like a zombie that pukes,
Yeah.
and the puke attracts more infected, but it doesn't like burn you or kill you. Like it just gets on you. I mean, obviously, if he pukes on you and you have an open wound or something and it gets in it, then you could potentially come sick. Maybe not infected, but sick enough to where it could cause problems.
Right.
Um, but it's really about that happy ground where you're You can include zombies from these games, but at the same time, you have to decide, well, that's a little overboard, having you know, these spitters that can see in the dark, they can spit like 50, 60 feet like a football field almost at you and nail you and it burns your skin. Or
I,
boom.
I guess where it really falls down to upon of like realisticness is if like a zombie apocalypse ever gonna happen, then we're probably not really dealing with special infected. Let's just go ahead and call that out. We're
Because
not really dealing.
it would take too long for them to evolve and
Yeah, to
become
evolve
special
and have
infected.
that evolution. So what we're basically talking about, just like a straightforward, like either your two main bases are the runners and
Regular
the
walking
yeah
zombies.
the regular walking
And I,
zombies.
I feel like at that point, like I said, it would come down to stealth, where you don't attract too much attention to where you antagonize those runners, or if they're runners.
Yeah, because they're more hyperactive and their senses are a lot more alert as opposed
Yeah,
to like the more calmer ones.
I think during the day, I would be more adamant to venture out and be like, hey, let's hit like we need to hit this place. We need to hit this place, and then maybe someone goes, well, we've already hit two places. Do we need to hit another one? I'm like, yeah, dude, hit as many as we can while it's light, because while it's light out, we can see if there's a runner. We could see if the runners are running towards us. We can quickly
I
barricade
suppose
ourselves
if it was dark, then
at
you can't
night.
really even focus the ones that can't even walk because the ones that are crawling are the ones that are the dangerous ones.
Yeah,
Because if you're kind of just walking through a place and next your ankle gets bitten, then
yeah.
you're kind of pretty much fucked at that
Or you're
point.
like, you see a road and there's a lot of them on the road, so you're like, oh, let's cut through the woods here, and then you start cutting through the woods, and then you get to the other side, and it's like, oh, there's a big field here, um, with
Wider open field,
wider
yeah.
open field, and you're like, oh, that's great, and then you start walking through, and you realize the grass is getting taller, and you're like, oh shit. Next thing you know, a zombie bites someone in the ankle, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't see. Whereas to if you were walking through the field and it was light out, you could at least see like the grass is kind of
Yeah, trying to plan
distorted.
kind of trying to plan a better tactics so that way you're not too much screwed in the open field, and then you're not risking your own survivors. At the same time, you're also getting the resources that you need, so that way you can kind of like again bring it back to the group. And yeah, no, I think just dealing with like just the at least the normal aspect of whether you're dealing with walkers or runners, I feel like obviously definitely traveling in the light would be a lot better, but obviously at night I feel getting like little small pigeon posts and stuff like that is
And
fine,
I
but
feel it depends on the area you're in. If I'm like in you know, a woodsy area where there's a lot of overgrown stuff, and there's a lot of maybe it's a higher, there's a city nearby, like relatively close. It's within 10 minutes. At that point, I'm a little skeptical on going out at night because again, near a city, you got a lot more people, a lot more potential for runners, and if it's overgrown in a lot of areas, again, you have a risk of you don't know what's in that overgrown brushery. You don't know what's in the overgrown, woods or area or whatever. But if you're in an area that's, maybe like 30 minutes out from the city, like where Sierra's dad lives or my in laws live, where it's in a little town and it's about 30, 40 minutes from the city. And I mean, there's big open areas. It's not too overgrown, but it's also not too underpopulated to where you wouldn't find supplies.
yeah.
So in that case, I would probably venture out at night, but I would definitely be like, try and stick to the road so you can see what's out in the open. You're not worried about, oh, is something gonna like sneak up in the grass? Is something in the brushery? Is something in this dead tree that's gonna come flying out at me? You just never know because you could be walking through some woods and there's one of those runners was just nonchalantly sleeping in a hole in a tree or in like a tree that was hollowed out,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, one of us steps on a twig or bumps a rock that rolls down and hits another rock or hits another
Yeah,
tree.
the possibilities are
It's just
endless. Are
so.
absolutely endless.
Then next thing you know, someone gets tackled by that running zombie like that, and then you're fighting it off, and you have to either one, it tackles you instantly and actually successfully bites you, or two, it tackles the person or you, and you manage to keep it away, but then they gotta kill someone either has to kill the zombie or you have to kill the zombie, get it off of you, and then take stock of your environment and see was anyone else alerted, was anything else alerted,
Yeah, staying
you
cautious
know,
of your surroundings.
exactly. And then was anyone else hurt? Am I good? Okay. And then you gotta quickly after you do that, and you analyze that. If everything is good, then you have to get back on track and be like, okay, where were we going? Which way are we going? Is this the best way? Maybe we should try and alternate our route, or do we stay back on course?
Yeah.
And it's really, I feel like when you play with the dark, you really have to know what you're doing. I feel like if you knew the area, if you were familiar with the area, and
It would be a lot easier because you could at least like get the whole like
you're like,
you
oh,
gotta have a good gist. Like
yeah,
you gotta
we
have a
could
good
go this
idea.
way, it's a shortcut. We could go that way, it's a shortcut. You got alternate routes.
Possibility of what's it called transportation, because that plays a huge part too, because like I mean eventually you're gonna get tired of fucking running around
Oh
and shit
yeah.
like that.
Well,
Ciphering, mm, possibility. Possibility. It depends on how much the tank is left over in that vehicle.
yeah, and I mean it depends on your skill of it. If you're stupid with it, or if you actually have somewhat of a skill for it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't say that it takes rocket science, but I'm also not going to say that it comes as common sense. But um, obviously, you put the funnel, you put the hose down in the tank, and then you gotta suck it out, and you're gonna get gas in your mouth.
Yeah.
So you
Regardless.
suck it out, and as soon as you feel it in your mouth, you quickly pull that hose out of your mouth and put it straight down into that gas tank or into that bucket or whatever you're putting it in instantly. Because if you take too long to put it down, it goes right back down, and you're back at square one. You have to spit that gas out, and then you have to go back to sucking it, and then you keep getting those fumes in your mouth, and then you get a headache, you start hallucinating, whatever, and then next thing you know, you're you're not able to focus, and then you're down a person because they're too hyped up on the fumes and the gases of the gas.
Yeah.
No pun intended, but um, so I mean, but yeah, definitely siphoning gas. Definitely have someone who's willing to do it and has somewhat of knowledge on like not like breaking into cars or like that, but someone who has some knowledge on like, hey, like you can get gas out of a car if you absolutely need to. You just do this.
Or
With
even just
those.
hot wiring.
Or hot wiring, exactly. I mean, like I said, it's not to say, oh, you gotta find a criminal.
Or even not even just necessarily hot wiring, but also pulling parts too.
Yeah.
Because if you're able to pull parts from a vehicle and then it's kind of like universal, then you might be in luck. I mean, you gotta figure out what vehicle like model and stuff like that there are cousins with. That way you can kind of like like transition to that one, so that way you're not dealing with like too much of a space.
Yeah.
So that way you can still also utilize your vehicle, but you got it also some upgrades too. So that way you can at least keep it running for a little bit more longer, and also it could run faster. You know, it's a lot safer, or whatever type of upgrades you
Oh
can
yeah.
actually apply on.
Exactly. And I mean, not not tooting my horn, but I mean, I know some mechanical stuff I could work with a car, but um, I definitely think knowing how to siphon gas, get gas, like you said, knowing how to, if a repair needs to be done, how simple is it? Could you go to, a car dealership maybe and go into their parts section and find that part, get it out, and then be able to install it and stuff like that. And I think in that time, I think I'd be even more useful than I am now, to be honest, because I would have access to tools and stuff more easily because I wouldn't have to pay for them.
That's also a essential thing to look out too.
Because I there's a
Tools,
yeah,
finding tools
well exactly
out there.
because there's a lot of stuff that I could do now or would be doing now if I had the tools to do it.
Because like most likely, like not a lot of people are going to be taking their tools with them during apocalypse, or either they died with their tools or whatever like
Well,
that.
and
So
that's the thing.
searching bodies.
Yeah,
Let's just say that definitely search your bodies. search those bodies.
yeah, because I mean, to a degree, they could have anything on them. I mean, in there, mostly, I wouldn't say necessarily searching the bodies, but I would say searching what they have on them.
Yeah,
Whether it's
yeah,
like
that's what I mean. Yeah,
their backpack, stuff like that, because I don't think someone's gonna have like rations in their jacket or in their pockets.
yeah.
If they do, it'll be something small like a granola bar or whatever, which I mean could be life or death for someone at some point. So I guess yeah, you could search the body, but um, I would say search the backpack first because if you can search that and be like, yeah, this is worth it, sling the bag over your shoulder. You got yourself a backpack which can carry stuff, and you got supplies in there. Boom, you're golden.
You got like 2 for 1. Pretty much right there.
Or even like just a bag, like a tote bag that maybe someone was, didn't know that this shit was happening and was on the way home, took a bus, rode the bus home, and the bus swerved and crashed, and somehow their bag flew out of the bus, or it was hanging out the bus window, and you were able to get it. I mean, you just depends on the situation. So I'm like, I would say search their supplies first, go from there. Um, Big thing to talk about is location. Um, to
Yes.
establish what would establish a home base or a location that would be a sweet spot for you to kind of maybe stationary, but not necessarily mean and permanent stationary.
For me, I don't know. For me, it would have to be either a school, or if you're lucky enough to find like maybe a hospital, because you already got your pharmaceutical needs there. But the odds of finding that is definitely
See,
hard. Maybe even just having like one of those types of houses that have like either 1 or 2 floors.
I would do, yeah, that would be my go-to is a house with 1 or 2 floors, just because you can take inventory of how many apartments there are and then eliminate the issues.
I mean, I definitely would not do like freaking, how do you call it, like a five
If
floor
you,
apartment, because that's a lot of rooms you're gonna have to clear. Because once you enter in there, then you gotta clear that room, you gotta
which
clear that room, you
brings
gotta
me,
clear that
which
one.
brings me to the point of I didn't want to discount your idea, but a school and a hospital would probably be one of the top worst places to go to, just because it would be great supply wise and longevity wise, but the problem would be successfully getting it completely clear. Once you get it clear, you have to fortify it. And once you fortify it, you have to have enough staff in to protect it.
I was gonna say a gym, because I mean,
I mean,
not a terrible idea.
you're so shockingly, you're probably less likely to see people at a gym versus a hospital, a school, a grocery store, a gun store.
Because that's where people
Yeah,
are normally going to generate
they're
to. I
gonna
mean, like
immediately go
if you
there.
go to a gym, then obviously there's nothing but like pretty much weights.
Everybody's
Maybe
gonna be like,
maybe
"Why would I
you'll
go
you'll
there?"
you'll catch like a couple like snacks and stuff like that, or like whatever they have, like energy drinks and shit like
Like
that.
prime example, I would probably establish somewhere like the the gym up behind the roadway over here,
Yeah,
just because it's tucked back, but it's close enough to the main road where I could go,
and
and
easily
there's
just.
all those car places.
Hmm.
Boom. You have so many car places that you could get access to for their car parts, for their mechanic tools. You have access to so many cars. There's so many
I had an
gyms.
idea too where it was like getting a pallet jack and taking the treadmills out from the gym
Mm.
and bordering it all around the proximity of the gym. So that way, if there was zombies, they even as they keep on trying to come, it will just constantly keep on rolling off because every time they take that foot on there, it would just constantly keep on pushing them off.
Yeah. The only thing with that is you're talking about you got to keep that powered,
Yeah.
and then not only that.
Well, you would have to at least like register like kind of like a on and off type of like situation because if it was building up, then you could just
Plus, you also have to consider the fact of if power even stays to the cities, who what has to maintain that?
mm-hmm.
Someone has to constantly
Cause
be
you would have to get a
maintaining that,
backup generator or something like that.
and then that costs fuel. You're talking about having to go get fuel for that, having to go get fuel for your car,
Yeah.
and who knows how many years it could be. It could be years. It could be generations, or it could. I mean, it could be just in your area. Like,
Oh shit! I'm just using the weights as weapons.
well, exactly. And that's what you could do. You could use the weights as weapons. Get some 20-pounders, start slamming them into the heads, crushing their skulls. I mean, but
Set
for
up some type
me,
of booby
what I would
traps.
do is to take your plan and configure it. I would probably take a pallet jack or, two of us, because usually they have wheels on it on one end, so you can maneuver them. I would take them and move them, get them over to the doors, and tip them on their side and push them up against the door. Because the weight of a treadmill, they're not going to be able to push that.
Yeah.
And then even if they break the glass, that treadmill is still way too heavy. They're going to have to climb over it, which will buy you time to stab them and kick them out. Or if you can manage to find something that will stack on top of it.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, there's definitely options, and like I said, the proximity. Typically, a gym is in a centrally located area, but it's usually gyms are really tucked back enough to where they're in a plaza, so you could you have a back door to gain access to the back side, and you also have a front door, so you could really blockade that front door for the most part, but leave a possibility to be able to unbarricade it, needing to get out in case you can't get through the back door or get to
Yeah.
the back door. But long story short, typically a gym will be near multiple other places, and that would be my goal, is to be near a place that has cars, or not necessarily cars, but a mechanic shop, even if it's a mom and pop mechanic shop in the middle of nowhere. If you have a mom and pop mechanic shop and a tiny little gas station that has, snacks and stuff. It doesn't necessarily have like top notch stuff, but better than nothing.
And yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree with what you're saying about that.
Yeah, I would definitely, like I said, establish some kind of thing near a gas station, a mechanic mom and pop shop. I wouldn't want to be necessarily near the city or too close to a main road, or I wouldn't mind being near a school per se, because I mean I wouldn't want to be right next door, but within proximity of it, because again, by the time this gets out, most people would be cleared out of there or have some kind of awareness that, hey, we need to send these kids home. We're not keeping them here because we're not getting in trouble for it, because they're thinking that it's going to blow over.
Yeah.
So most of the kids would be sent home or en route to going home before anything happened. So you would have a handful of stragglers, but it would be populated enough to where I wouldn't want to establish that stay,
Yeah.
because it's too much of a risk. And the same with, like I said, you have to blockade so much. There's so many like doors and access points that it's like there's too many ways that someone could break in or get in. And I mean, unfortunately, if the power's not working, you can't get your cameras to work. And so at first, it would be the glory spot, because you would be like, we have electricity, we have plenty of bathrooms, we blockade the doors. Okay, we got those blocked. We got the cameras working, so I could see if anybody tries to break in. I can quickly look at the cameras, find their location, and tell the group, walkie over, and say, hey, someone's breaking into da 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 da. Boom, and everybody goes there with their guns trained, boom.
Yeah, ready and aimed and stuff like
And
that.
it's taken care of. But the thing is, the world in a zombie apocalypse situation, the world is eventually going to run where the point is like, hey, we can't maintain power because everybody got infected in the power plant or where the power is being generated from. So you lose power. School runs the backup generator. Backup generator runs out.
Yeah, pretty much fucked at that
Then
point.
you're screwed. You don't have camera access. You got all these doors, all these windows. Next thing you know, someone throws, a giant, act like a fire axe or throws, something big through the window, smashes it somehow, and then gets in. And then now you got someone in the building that you don't know about. And sure, maybe you luck out and someone hears the glass shatter or something, but maybe you don't. And maybe you all are towards the front end where the office is, and this person breaks in on the complete other side of the school by the cafeteria. Like there's a lot of risk. I feel the more area you have, the more you have to cover your ass.
True, true. Because too much space could, definitely come at like too much risk because there's just too much to cover. There's too
Yeah.
much to cover. So I will restrain my idea. But yeah, definitely keeping it nice and like compact. Well, not too compact where it's claustrophobic, but just enough compact where you can kind of get your idea of your ins and outs and like your exits and who's here and stuff like that. Conflict within.
Conflict within. Um, I would definitely say. I mean, it depends on the conflict. I would definitely say if it's a lot of times, I say
Like
conflict.
disagreement.
I would say, I mean, in this day and age, I could definitely see um, disagreement being an issue because we basically justify hurting people and killing people who don't believe in what we believe in,
Yeah.
and it's accepted upon. Um, so that would definitely be something very scary and to not take lightly
Like
because
if a person like disagrees on doing like a night watch.
I would definitely be like, well,
Because they already been on night watch like the past 2 nights and they had to cover for someone the night prior before, but now they're getting forced to do another third
see,
night watch.
here's the thing too. In that situation, it could go one of two ways. Which this is the scary part. The scary part is that let's say that happens, like you said, dude covers 2 nights because the first night was his night, the second night was someone else's night who couldn't do it because they were still stuck out there doing a run and maybe it got dark too quickly and they had to stay. So we're like, hey, so and so's not back yet. I need you to do watch. And they're like, okay, fine. Then the third night rolls around and it's like, hey, you've been sleeping during the day and up at night, so you're not necessarily accustomed to it, but you're at least have some kind of tolerance to it more than most of us. So can I have you do one more night? Then I'll pick up the next night if it comes to that. And at that point, like I said, one or two ways. He could be like, no, I'm not doing this like a mother. And then you're like, dude, just we need to do this. This is for like, you know, everybody's got to do something
For
that
the
they don't want to
community.
do. It's for the community. It's not. I'm not asking you to do it for my benefit. I'm not benefiting anything from it other than sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you could use sleep, I'm sure, but you slept early this morning. So you did get sleep. Granted, maybe it wasn't as peaceful, but it isn't like you've been up for 3 days straight. And then at that point, that person could be like, you know what, fine, whatever. Then next thing you know, he shoots you in the head while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
And then that person justifies it, saying he put me under too much pressure, and he wasn't doing the right thing, he wasn't the right leader, basically justifying it. That's the day and age that we live in, even without zombies.
Yeah.
But for me, as a person, I would try and make common ground. I think at that point, if they've already done it too,
Or even like try to do like half a shift.
well, that's exactly what I was leading to. I'd be like, hey, I know you did it for 2 days, but what if I decide to stay up and do half the shift? I'm gonna set an alarm, and you set an alarm, and I wake you up. So at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna wake you up, and you do from 3, 4 o'clock until 7, 8 a.m. when everybody else starts to wake up, maybe, and then you tell one of them to do watch, or I'll wake up and I'll tell one of them to do watch,
Yeah.
and kind of like negotiate. Like I understand your frustration, and
So
I want to work with you.
what about what I was gonna say was like sexual type of harassment.
Sexual harassment? I thought you were gonna say like sexual, like how do you handle that? And I was like, you find the closest couch. You find a couch or a sock. No.
Nah.
Um, Sexual harassment, like it depends. Um, for me, I feel
Well, like for the instance from
Is it-
Walking
okay.
Dead, Rapey Davy.
is well, my thing is it in the group or is it happening like we're doing, a run and we see like maybe a guy's kind of
Oh no, it's within the community.
oh, within the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's zero fucking tolerance for that shit.
So you're pulling a straight nigga who's like, you know what? I do not accept your apology.
Well, I wouldn't kill the person. I wouldn't kill them. I mean, well, it depends on the situation. But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily because we're talking zombie apocalypse.
Especially if there's history behind it, though. Because you gotta think of it like if it was like the whole Shane and Rick type of deal, it's just like, oh, well, like I was with her probably before her husband came back, and now her husband came back, and I'm nothing but chocolate liver. It's just like, dude, like, I get where you're coming from, and I understand where you're coming from, but you gotta understand that we're in a community, and everybody here is just, like, everybody's trying to be stationary. Everybody's just trying to be, like, like, living whatever they can. So, like, whatever type of conflict y'all both have, it's like y'all gotta hash this out. Or, unfortunately enough, when you guys gotta go because we can't have this in our community. You know.
Well, I mean, that's just if it's a misunderstanding or like, whatever. But I mean, if you're.
I'm talking about like sneaking into the bedroom. I'm talking about like sneaking into like the shower. Like if they know for a fact because each like party has their own shower. Females have their own shower. Males have their own shower. Now if they're a couple or whatever like that, it's just like okay, it's fine. Like if y'all want to shower together, it's like it's whatever.
Yeah.
But like obviously like keep the noise down. If y'all gonna do whatever you guys gonna do, then bring that into the bedroom and do your thing.
Well, don't exhaust the water either.
Exactly.
But
like, don't have like that hot water running like what I'm saying like. Yeah.
Or maybe don't even have the water running. I mean, do the thing in the shower and wash it all off.
Yeah.
I mean,
it depends. I didn't say it depends on how fast the dude's able to nut.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say don't turn the water on and shower and then do it because then now you're dirty again. That's kind of stupid.
I'm just thinking like just imagine just like like talk dirty to me. I'm coming. like
sounds like so
it's over. but
no, for me, I mean, it comes down to like I said. So you're talking a situation where it's a mutual confusion versus a situation where people abusing the water or abusing the resource. So you tell them, hey, we're not wasting resource. If you want to do that, fine. But do it, then turn the water on and quickly do your shower and get out.
Yeah.
Like, kind of common ground rules that it's like common sense to not waste a resource if it's very scarce.
Right.
It's kind of like if you have the last frickin' pudding, you're not going to frickin' devour it down, split the fucking pudding.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I mean, it's just morals.
But going back to like that main topic of dealing with that type of conflict.
I would say if the woman came forward and was like
Like, hey, so and so has been like sneaking into my
sneaking into
room,
the
and
shower or
or
sneaking in
yeah,
the
like
room.
touching me like inappropriately and stuff like that,
At
or
that point, I mean, depends. So who? It depends on who's in the group. If it's me and you in the group, I would tell you, hey Brian, you go climb in her bed. You're gonna go in his room and sleep for the night. He's gonna go in your room and sleep, and then I'm gonna wait in the closet. And then when this dude comes in and lifts the covers back and sees your burly ass in there, and he goes, "What the fuck?" I'm gonna come in with that baseball bat and smash his hand. I'm gonna nail him right in the hand, and we're gonna beat his ass. And we're gonna say, "Now we could throw you out there and tell you go fend for yourself. But now you probably have a broken hand, you have a black eye, possibly broken bone, and we could throw you out there."
for me, it would be like more of like a, how do you call it, like a spectator, like open wide type of example. For me, it would be like, okay, so it has been brought to my attention that, like, there has been some type of unnecessary sexual conduct that has been happening underneath the community, whatever, like that.
I, I,
or
that I get
or
your point.
bringing it more towards on a one-on-one behalf, be like, hey, like, I need to pull you aside. It's like, okay, like talk to me. It's like, okay, so I've been noticing, or I've been hearing that from so and so that you've been sneaking in to so and so's room, and she does not like it. So what can we do to, like, because this is where it falls along the line of, it's like, either you're gonna stop what you're doing, or I'm gonna force you out of there, and you're not gonna like the way that I'm gonna put you out there, because the way that I'm gonna put you out there, you're not gonna be able to defend yourself.
See, now I partly agree with that, but I feel like people are too. I mean, you saw how Shane and Rick. I mean, Rick
Yeah, because
confronted.
the feelings are still there.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because words are words. So if you say something to somebody, you're like, "Hey, one on one, like, hey, this is happening. If it happens
Yeah, you try to
again,
bring some type of
we're
rationale to
gonna."
it. They take an inch and then they take the whole mile.
Yeah, they're gonna. He's gonna be like, "Well, what are you gonna do about it?" "Oh, you want to see what I'm gonna do about it?" Yeah, and then an altercation starts, and one, he's ready for it, you're ready for it, but everybody else isn't, and then next thing you know, it's a scrap, and multiple people are getting hurt.
So
Versus,
you're more on the aspect of like keeping it on the DL and then catching them in the act, so that way.
well, no, yes and no. I was getting to there. So after you beat him and you set an example to him, you drag him out of there and bring him out into, basically not into the public, but you drag him out of the room and bring him out there. And there's bound to be some people out there in that, whether it's a living room or, maybe they come out of their bedroom because they hear the
Or a
noise
courtyard or something.
or a courtyard, but you bring them out there and you go, "I just want to let y'all know, if you're ever thinking about going in a woman's room or man, going in a room, taking advantage of somebody, think again, because we're not playing this game. People are important, and if we're going to abuse them and use them like this, then you don't belong here because we need every person mentally there and physically there. And if you're going to physically and mentally hurt somebody and cause them to not be able to work or do what we need them to do, you will be made an example, just like this example was done."
Exactly.
So,
And to put the pin in the coffin, I'm gonna say this for the final word: people are a resource.
yes, definitely, especially in a apocalypse or a dire situation.
But we will be back with you guys soon. Peace.